Welcome back to my channel. Today I was just thinking about a trip I took back in 2010 with my mom and my sister. We went to Tombstone, Arizona. We really had a great time. But it got me to thinking I'd like to do a little history about it, and then I found a website that had 10 facts about Tombstone. And I apologize if my words sometimes sound slurred. I was at the dentist this morning, and I thought by now the shots that I received would be wearing off, but my lips and chin are still a little numb. But since it's been a while since I've recorded anything of substance, I thought I would do this today. So I have 10 facts about Tombstone. But first I wanted to tell you a little bit about my trip there with my sister and my mom. Like I said, it was back in 2010. And it's dirt roads. It looks like it does in the movie Tombstone. We went on a ghost tour. It was a walking tour, which was fantastic. We rode in a stagecoach, which was pretty interesting. We did not stay in Tombstone. We were not aware of all of the options to stay there, but we were not very far. I believe it was Benson, Arizona. We stayed right there. It was a nice drive. We actually had to go through border patrol. It wasn't customs, but border patrol. There were officers, and they would stop your car. And even though we're still in America, it was still, you had to go through that to get to Tombstone. Every time you went in or out. Anyway, we did not go to the Birdcage Theater, which is our biggest regret. We took someone's advice and didn't waste our money there, according to them. And then we heard from a ton of other people once we got back that we should have gone. So, but we did eat at Big Nose Kate's. It was a saloon. It was fantastic. It was so old-fashioned. It was beautiful. It still had the bullet holes, the original bullet holes that were left in the ceiling from what's the word I'm looking for? From fights in the saloon. Yeah, I know there's a lot of other things I'm missing and forgetting. There's an amazing, they have a museum there. Fantastic. Yeah, it's definitely someplace I would suggest going if you like the Wild West history. We went to Boot Hill, the cemetery out there. It's kind of a drive. It's not a huge drive, but I'm saying you have to drive to it. You can't just walk to it from the town of Tombstone. But it's really fantastic, everything. I enjoyed it, absolutely. I would definitely. The only issue I really had with the entire trip was everything closes down at like 6 p.m. You can still go to the bars. I believe they're open until, I don't know, 2. I could be wrong. So you can still eat and drink, but if you wanted other entertainment, it's not there. That's not true. You can do the ghost tour once it gets dark, so there's that. I was told that we came in October, and that was the best time to come. The weather was beautiful. It was in the 80s, 70s, 80s. And also, I guess the month before is when they have a lot of bugs. Like the ground will be covered in bugs of some sort, beetles or something. But yeah, so we had a fantastic time. You know, it's kind of cheesy, some parts. We did go to a store called the Blue-Eyed Witch. I don't know if it's still open. As some of you may know, if you've listened to any of my other true life rambles or whatever, you know that I'm sensitive to spirits. I had a very strong reaction to the Blue-Eyed Witch. I don't know what the building was originally, if it was somebody's home. But we went into the store, and I went to you walk in, and there's a place right there where you can do your tarot cards, and it tells you how to do them and how to do the reading and what it means. And my mom and my sister went off to the left, where it was the store part of where they sold everything. Anyway, I was done with my tarot, and I got to right there in the entryway off to the left, and I couldn't go. I couldn't go further in. And like I said, I have spirits that protect me, and I knew it was them, and I knew they didn't want me going back there, which is fine. And so I didn't. I went outside, and they had birdhouses and beautiful birds. It was lovely, absolutely lovely. And when my mom came out, she asked me why I hadn't gone back, and I just said I couldn't. And then I asked her, because I know one thing that my spirits definitely keep me away from, it's voodoo. And I asked, were there voodoo items over there? And my mom looked shocked, and she said, yeah, they had a section of voodoo. She's like, how did you know? And I just figured. But it was a cool store. I would suggest it. I would highly suggest it. I would have loved to have gone in there, but like I said, there's certain things I don't ignore in life, and that's one of them, and whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, so now we'll get on to the 10 facts about Tombstone, and thank you so much for joining me. Number 1. At its peak, Tombstone is said to have been the fastest growing city between St. Louis and San Francisco. There were over 100 saloons, numerous restaurants, a large red light district, schools, churches, newspapers, and one of the first public swimming pools in Arizona, which is still used today. Number 2. There were actually 5 Earps. They were Virgil, Morgan, Wyatt, Warren, and James. Number 3. Tombstone's post office was established December 2nd, 1878, and has yet to be discontinued. Number 4. The most famous event in Tombstone's history was the famed gunfight at the OK Corral, which didn't actually happen at the corral, but in a vacant lot on Fremont Street. On October 26, 1881, members of the Cowboys had a run-in with Wyatt, Virgil, and Morgan Earp, with help from Wyatt's friend Doc Holliday. 24 seconds and 30 shots later, Billy Clanton, Tom and Frank McClary were mortally wounded. In many people's opinion, it was the one event that has kept Tombstone alive for all these years. Number 5. There were 2 newspapers in Tombstone. The Tombstone Epitaph, edited by John Clum, and the was an ice cream parlor in Tombstone, and it was very popular with the locals, including Wyatt Earp, who was quite fond of ice cream. Number 7. There were a few theaters in town, the most famous of them being Schieffelin Hall and the Birdcage Theater. Number 8. Sirens were used in Tombstone to mark the beginning of a new shift for the miners. After the gunfight occurred on October 26, 1881, sirens went off from the Visna mine, and miners poured up onto the street, armed and ready. I wonder if they were ready to fight. Number 9. Saloons were open 24 hours a day in Tombstone. These included the Oriental, the Crystal Palace Saloon, the Eagle Saloon, and the Alhambra. Saloons could be quite decadent and served whiskey and